Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
I can hear you loud and clear, Coach Jay. I hope everybody on the audience had a good trading day. I don't know about you, but it's freezing cold here in Chicago with a high of -3.
Oh, wow. A high of -3. It's not that cold yet. It hasn't gotten that cold yet. I think we're supposed to get it probably sometime tomorrow into Sunday. The snow is supposed to start, but yeah, not that cold yet. You just staying inside all day?
Oh no, I had to get out and enjoy the weather. Um,
You enjoy that weather?
yeah, for a spot. I mean, see how much you can
Tolerate?
tolerate. You
Yeah.
never know until you're challenged.
That's true. That is true. I saw Jack say it today that you know, we what did he say? It feels like a jumping into an ice bath. We're live. Yeah, JD, we know we're live. We know we're live. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being with us. Have a little conversation about the weather. Hopefully, everybody else is going to stay warm and out of the snow this weekend. Uh, how's everybody else doing in the chat? All good, JD. How's everybody else doing? Hopefully, everybody had a good Friday. Welcome to At the Buzzer, a market recap. If this is your first time here, the goal of this segment is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity. We want to see how we can take advantage of these opportunities while managing our risk. Ton of opportunity in the markets, and it's our job to execute on what we see. This is our first time meeting. I'm Coach Jay, been a Topstep performance coach since June of 2023, and that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep since April of 23. I've been trading for 4 decades. I'm here to share some experiences, some wisdom, and hopefully help you become a better trader.
Awesome stuff. Thank you for that, Coach Paul. You are all our chat, our audience. Thank you each and every day for joining us, especially on a Friday when some of us are probably making plans for the Ice Age coming up in just a little bit here. Got to go hit the grocery store after this, make sure we are prepared for the weekend. But let's get into the news. We did have some numbers out today. We had S&P Services PMI flash coming at 52.5. Forecast was 52.9. Manufacturing PMI came in at 51.9. Forecast was 52. We also had that Michigan sentiment final number come in at 56.4, and the forecast was 54. A little bit better than expected. We got some big news next week. Big news next week. We got a Fed meeting. We have a bunch of tech earnings. For the Fed meeting, the expectation is that they're going to keep rates the same. Bank of Japan kept their rates the same. We maybe could talk about that a little bit. But some big tech earnings coming out next week. The Nasdaq is still in the same spot that we left it, and has been trading for the last 3 months. So we will see. Anything you got on the news, Coach Paul?
Um, no, no big news, but you get the feeling there's something behind the news with extreme movements in currencies. Obviously, the big ones, silver, gold. Um, But outside of that, there was nothing major. Um, uh, but the way these markets, especially the currencies and the metals, I feel there's, come with a weekend coming up, just feel there's some news that which is going to pop up over the weekend. So we'll see. But what a day! Literally a historic day.
Yeah, it really was. Silver over $100. Let's take a look at the quote board here. 36 different markets we can trade with Topstep accounts, and today, to the downside, the Dow down 0.74%, the Russell down 2.14%, and the Nikkei down 2.25% for our biggest percentage movers to the downside. To the upside, we had crude oil up 3.18%, silver making new all-time highs, trading above the $100 level, winning the race between silver and gold for who was going to hit their milestone level first, 5,000 or 100. Silver won that race, up 6.63% on the day. Platinum, not forget about platinum. Platinum said, "Oh yeah, everything else is making all-time highs. Watch this." Platinum up 7.27% on the day for our biggest percentage mover to the upside. Platinum has kind of low key been a market that, to me, it's kind of getting like silver, a little too expensive to trade. But it is another trend as well. It doesn't get talked about as much, but I mean, look at this platinum chart. It looks very much like a silver chart here from what we're seeing. To talk about our big four, we have the S&P down 0.14%. We already mentioned crude oil down up 3.22%. Gold also making new all-time highs, not taking out that $5,000 level just yet, up 1.4%. And the NASDAQ up 0.12% on the day. We might have to start shuffling around that big four. NASDAQ, S&P might be losing your spot. um, you might be
Oh,
losing your spot to silver
we're making new lows in the Russell as
in
we
the
speak.
Russell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was some big movements, today. It almost feels wrong starting with the Nasdaq after we saw what silver did. It's the end of the week. Let's take a look at this weekly candle, Coach Paul, in silver.
Oh, that's a rocket ship path. There's nothing stopping this. Um, we talked before in comparison to the last huge run up in 1980. Silver went from $7 to $50. Um, big difference between that and this was that was predicated on the Hunt brothers and their minions buying silver futures, not the cash. This market is being led into cash. That's a big difference because the leverage isn't there and exchange can't declare an emergency. So I was watching a thing by Sprott. I forget his first name. He's Sprott Metals. He could his basic bottom line is with someone joke we thought it was a joke, $300 silver.
I mean,
You can't they're not producing silver. And now silver's becoming um, the latest Bitcoin. It's what's going to stop it?
I don't know. I do not know. I actually was listening to a video about someone. Shout out to Anna Cooling who reposted this video on Twitter. Somebody talking about copper and the same case, right? Like it's not being mined fast enough for how much we need, and copper's still hanging out here, but silver is the one that's gaining all the momentum right now. But it could happen in a bunch of other places. I was up at 2 o'clock this morning, Coach Paul, and I happened to see that video on Twitter, and then I had a bunch of thoughts just about the uh, finite supply of some of these precious metals that we have. And watching these markets rally like this, uh, very interesting. Very interesting times that
Uh,
we're in,
yeah,
historic times that we're in. Uh, Again, it sounds crazy to say, but the silver prices, gold prices have never been higher ever. Let's take a look at the daily, more of the same. Uh, and then we can get down to the shorter time frame. How do you trade this? Uh, can we trade copper? Yeah. So copper's not moving a whole lot right now, Bobby. HG is the ticker. MHG is the micro. You can trade it. The other metals are running right now. Copper's still inside of this 25% sell-off tariff candle. If we start to see some closes above that, maybe it can get interesting. But right now, it's not really doing too much as far as the other metals go. Let's take a look at the 30-minute chart, Coach Paul, in silver. How can you trade this? We know it's moving.
Oh, you could trade it. You can't afford to trade it.
Yeah.
So here, silver, I measured the move was $62,000 range in the COMEX regular silver, 5,000 ounce.
Wow.
Today's range.
Yeah.
So 1/5 of that would be the micro,
About
brings it
11,
down to about
12,000.
$12,000.
Yeah.
Now we do have, I mean, solid as we look for, we have urgency on the opening. We brought this up yesterday. You can bring it down to a 1 minute chart and find a place that you can find instead of trading a 3 minute, a 5 minute, trade the 1 minute because you have to either squeeze down your size or squeeze down your time. Because
Yep.
the time risk here is astronomical. It's obviously so is the price risk. So that's one way you can trade it. But then again, you can't afford any errors. So I'm waiting for the 100 ounce silver to
Couple
trade.
weeks. Couple weeks. February
Might
9th.
be $200 an ounce then.
Right. Here you go though. I mean, from a tech, as expensive as this contract is, I traded it last night. I gave back some of my profits again doing this kind of a messy day. I don't know why the hell I'm trading the Nasdaq and or some of the other equities. This thing is the one that's moving. I have to be better with that. It's still a profitable day, but I got to be better because, like you just said, Coach Paul, on that first minute, I traded this in the first 2 minutes of the session because we are getting this breakout, and it's a decent trade, right? From a technical perspective, silver is a beautiful trending market. It does everything that you want a trending market to do. It rallies, it breaks out, it has follow through at breakout levels. It has decent stair step pullbacks that you can then buy the breakouts from. It's just expensive as hell to trade. Uh, and from that 1 minute, we do get that breakout. That did set the low for the day. They were very serious about buying silver all day today. We did get a little bit of a pullback. Did get a little bit of a pullback during the London session here, but kind of stalled out near view up and continued. Uh, yeah, Bobby, and that's not the trade. That's not going to be the trade every day, right? But on a day like last night, it just got going early, and the the more you can limit your risk in a market like this, the better. And we could talk about it. Even the Shanghai Open, Coach Paul. Here's the first minute here, very similar to
Oh,
what we saw yesterday. Perfect
that's a
tag,
1 minute chart.
1 minute chart. 1 minute chart. This 1 minute candle here is
$1.50.
half a dollar, half a dollar,
Okay.
half a dollar,
So
which is
it's $500 on a micro,
right,
roughly.
right,
Okay.
$2,500 with a big contract. So again, a ton of risk in trading this market, but from a technical perspective, I'm looking at
So
this thing and I'm just like, it's doing like, uh, if any market could trade like this, Russell's kind of trading like this, to be honest. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but whatever market trades like this, I want to trade it because it is clean price action. You can see where the momentum is taking control of the market and just a consistent rally. We tagged that $100 level. I know there were probably a lot of traders that were looking at big fat round number level. There's going to be some selling there. There was a 200 lot on the offer the first time we got up to 100 evens. It filled without an issue. Got a little bit of a pullback. I doubt that was somebody trying to short silver, maybe taking some profits. Makes sense at a whole number level. Maybe they are shorting, but they got bigger risk tolerance than I do because we continue to see this market grind up, making new all-time highs above $103. This is just kind of insane to watch. Who traded silver or micro silver? Again, we know the risk. We talked about it, but it would be we'd be kind of doing ourselves a disservice if we weren't talking about this market rallying.
What,
These, yeah, go ahead, coach.
they were asking about what moving averages.
Yeah,
Not those aren't.
yeah, these are VWAP. So these are VWAP. I'll change the color. The yellow one here is anchored to the Shanghai Session Open, which is right here, this range. The red one is the full session. When we do use moving averages, I don't know where they went. Looking at a 20, 50, and 200 moving average. What's up, Chauncey?
Welcome back, Chauncey.
20. Purple is the 50. The white one is going to be the 200. Bobby, you traded silver today too? Bobby, I know you're like Michael Burry, you like to short everything. Hopefully you were on the long side of this market. Or if you were short, took your profits. Uh, but yeah,
Any fool can know, says I'm out of levels in silver. I can't trade it now.
yeah,
um,
yep,
back when we used to charts by hand, there was a publication called Commodity Perspective, and it was expensive. Um, but on weeks like this, I mean, you just be literally off the chart.
yep.
You cut another little piece off and add to it, but it was one of those top of the chart resistance is just blowing through all of that. So yeah, there's no more levels.
Daily ATRs, big fat round numbers, those can be your targets. Maybe some pivot levels, support and resistance. Shout out to Coach Paul who does the pivot class in Discord every day, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. Those are potential levels, but in a market like this, and Bobby, you said you were trying to short it. I mean, I get it, right? Sometimes it's hard to believe what's happening here. I've just lost so much damn money trying to do that, and in silver, it I am looking for uh, System Pro. I don't know what you mean there. Uh, what was I going to say here? Jack was talking about a capitulation move, right? And we haven't really seen that yet, Coach Paul. This is just consistent buying, right? That kind of blow off top. We saw it in gold last year when we made that high for a little while. It's kind of crazy to see that that hasn't happened yet. Maybe I thought it was going to happen at 100 and it didn't. Um, I don't know where this is going to stop.
Well, that tells you exactly. There's no capitulation. You would see it. You'd have to see it on a daily, or you'd
Mm,
have like at least like a $10 range with an engulfing candle and then
yep.
absolutely monstrous. But like what you're saying earlier, this is a different animal. It's
Y-
just this. The cash is owned.
Yeah.
So, like I said, this is part of the trade war. This isn't just abstinence. So the
Mm,
game is on. And if I don't know who could be short. Everybody says, "Oh, the banks are short." There's been a level that J.P. Morgan turned around and got long at around 50. So I don't know. All I know is if the only shorts are coming are getting blown out. So capitulation is a good look, but looking at that daily, you would have to have huge range. You'd have to take.
yeah.
It's not
You,
even
like you said, like
close.
10 points. I mean, today was close. Today was what this was a 7 point day, $7 day. But
Yeah,
yeah, it needs to be like where it gets kind of scary to even be long,
yeah.
right?
And then
Like,
we have to see failure. You would have to
yeah.
see failure with a $10 range.
Mm,
And so game's on.
yes,
I
it
just don't
is.
I just can't wait for the 100. Maybe we'll have to go to the 10 ounce. So according to Sprott from his and by the way, he's very big and he's a miner.
Okay.
Um he's very respected. I one of he's very vocal. But he's saying if taking the situation in hand, and now you have even people from Goldman saying suggesting that a portfolio instead of a 60-40 mix should be 60-20-20, and 20% of that should be in silver.
Oh wow.
And he laughed. And he's like, "Well, okay, if that happens, well, how about $1,000 an ounce?" Now, this is all getting hysteria. We're in that. It reminds me of the Bitcoin hysteria,
Mm,
but I'm a technician.
yeah.
I don't because I don't know, but when I when Bitcoin went over $100, everybody laughed. Then it went over 1,000, and then it went over 10,000, and everybody was in. So we don't know where it's going. There is no sign of this stopping, and I don't where it goes. I don't know. They kind of reminiscence if you were trading silver in the late '70s and when it went over $10 an ounce, you said, "Ah, that's crazy."
Right.
So
Crazy for now. Crazy for now,
exciting
but yeah.
times.
Yes, it is. Take a look at gold here. 5 days to the upside this week. Gold up about 8%. Lost the race to 5,000, but is right there. 49.82 last trade there in gold. Made a high, new all time high, 49.9140. Maybe it's next week. 5 days to the upside. Never took out a prior day's low all week. Extremely bullish. What are you seeing here?
Um, this not 5,500 next week.
Right. Right.
There's look at all it is crazy. Look at the week, the
Yeah.
weekly, yeah, the weekly. Look at that. What?
This weekly ATR was sorry, this weekly range was double the weekly ATR. This is
Yeah.
insane. This is pretty crazy, everybody. I don't like
Well,
this is wild to see. Um,
well, I mean, there's some history also if we're talking trade wars or lack of trust in central banking.
mm,
And China is, is historically they keep gold or they keep precious metals because they've gone through so many rotations of governments.
mm,
They really don't trust. So with Chinese I dealt with, the wealthy Chinese will keep 10 to 20% of their
mm.
wealth in precious metals.
In
So
physical.
with that, in physical, yeah, and bury it. Like
Yeah.
you're not gonna know where it's at. They're not keep it. They won't even keep it in a vault.
Mm,
Um, so with that, the world is coming in. This like I said, is historical times. What should happen and what happened in the '70s, we have an opportunity to put a Paul Volcker at the Federal Reserve and say, I don't care what you think, I'm gonna make money real. And he jacked up interest rates to 18%
yeah.
on an overnight. I, I don't, that's not happening. So this is the result. So very, I mean, that weekly just looks like this is just getting started.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Taking a look at the 30 minute. Go down to the 30. Another one. Urgency early. You wonder what we mean when we say urgency. Here is actually no, it did not have urgency early. Gold was a tough one in the Asia session. Yeah, yeah, I remember this. I was trading this last night with Dolby Time. Look at this. Where we had that strong rally into the end of the day, and everyone thought it's like, okay, Globex open, gold's going to 5,000, and it did nothing.
But first,
But first, but we did get this during the London session. Did get a J trade on a higher time frame. It took a little while to cover above that candle. Gold was not the same. Coach Hoop saying it's starting to roll. Uh, I think all the money rolled to silver. Uh, in this case today, and we've seen it be the opposite as well this week, right? We've seen silver be the consolidated market for a day, and then gold rally. I think silver just took the lead today. Um, Very different market than silver today. Anything you seen on this 30 minute?
yeah, we had a J trade at the lows.
Mm-hmm.
Got back above VWAP. All right. So did VWAP never left that first half an hour, did it?
Eh, never did.
All right.
All day.
Whatever drove that down, it was selling. And we think we just tag it, keep it simple. Held that, but where did it take off from? Now there's so we can concatenate this. This is now the opening.
Where the volume
And the
comes in.
frame that
Yeah.
where the volume the volume, it was the biggest volume of the night. J trade, that which was a beautiful trade. But here's another thing. If you're trading, your real risk is new lows. That's expensive. So micros are almost the same as Nasdaq now. Nasdaq, the mini Nasdaq.
Yeah.
Um, but let's see what happens when we come out of that. We close above that, and then we march forward.
Yeah. All right. That is what we got on the metals. I do want to real quick just bring up a
That was
go ahead.
Russell or
No, I was gonna bring up a dollar chart really quick. Uh,
oh yeah, I
There's a chart of the dollar on the daily. I think we can maybe go into an AKA. We got you. We're gonna do the equities last today. Because quietly, Coach Paul, the currencies are moving a ton. Japanese yen
yeah.
up 1.67% on the day. We saw the Australian dollar up 1% yesterday and up 0.82% today. British pound up 1% today. Uh, New Zealand dollar up 0.74%. The Swiss franc up 1.15%. The dollar selling off, making new lows of the year. What are you seeing here on this dollar chart?
Well, that's the breakout. Now,
Hmm.
do we have a 200 day moving average on there?
Let me see if I can get one up here. SMA. There you go.
Wow. All right. So we've been trending, the bounce over. Let and this is early in the year. Volume picking up to the downside. This is big candle. And look at that. It's solid. We're near the lows. This is more or less the beginning of a bigger move
Hmm.
downward.
Yeah. It's not looking great. Doesn't look like a healthy chart, right? I wouldn't be eager to buy this right away. Uh,
Let's put up a week. Can we put up a weekly? That's even it's more pronounced. So this last, I think it was November's lows. We go test that.
yeah.
But being under 200, we've accepted this level, and it's peak. I haven't seen. It's rare that you see all the currencies move the way they did today.
Yeah.
So let's go through those.
Take a look. Move over to the currencies. Let's go to the biggest moving one and maybe the most important for us paying attention to right now. Japanese yen. Bank intervention again. Um, are we back to that cycle? Here's the Japanese yen on the daily. What are you seeing here, Coach Paul?
Yeah. Well, there's an engulfing candle.
Hmm.
Whether it was intervention or not, we're going to go through all the currencies.
Yeah.
It's a theme. I don't even think they had to intervene. Like shorts are caught. Maybe they
Yeah.
did, but the shorts are caught because the dollar weakness, not just yen. So it's fleeing out of the dollar, and we're witnessing it in silver, gold, platinum. Now we'll go through the currencies. That's an engulfing candle off contract lows where it's found a level.
Yeah, these are like these like forever lows in the yen. Has the yen ever been lower? Interesting. Oh, they took him out. They got him again. Damn, got him again. He said too much, chat. He said way too much. But yeah, we're gonna go through. You keep doing this. I got to get Coach Paul a VPN or something so they don't know where he's streaming from. All right, let's take a look at the Swiss franc. We'll get Coach Paul back in here in just a minute. Here's the Swiss franc on the daily, and this is what he's talking about, right? All of these currencies, yeah, oop, we got to be careful out here. All of these currencies are rallying. Here's the Swiss franc. We talked about this one earlier in the week, holding that 20-day, 200-day moving average, right? All the moving averages are kind of consolidated around each other. But again, all of these are extremely bullish right now, right? When's the last time, chat, we talked about any of these currencies? Look at the Australian dollar, right? Haven't talked about any of these in a long time, and starting to get pretty interesting as we see that dollar sell off. Metals making all-time highs. I'm not going to put on my economist hat. We're going to wait for Coach Paul to come back to do that. But what I do see is markets that are presenting opportunity right now. You're back. Get him back in here. Oh, they got him again. He's gone again. I don't know what happened there. All right. Last big move was a tariff tantrum, right? Back to October, right? And that was a big move to the downside. Now we're seeing all these things rally, make new highs of the year in the Australian dollar here. Extremely bullish markets right now, presenting opportunity. Who here is trading currencies, currency futures in the chat? Just curious, taking advantage of this. I know it doesn't get a lot of love on TopstepTV, but they're markets that are moving. I don't trade them. I think my hands are busy, but I'm looking at this Australian dollar chart. I'm wishing I traded this instead of the Nasdaq today. He always has some sauce to share. Bobby says never. I'm gonna start taking maybe a little bit more of a look at these, especially if they're gonna be this interesting. Got to figure out when they move, when they like to move, and things like that. But Sleepy Mocha, I always lose trading them, and I think they have to be in what we see right now, which is a trending environment, right? In some of them, I think for the most part, currencies are supposed to be. All right, let's try this one more time. Got rid of him again. He keeps joining and it kicks him out. Currencies are supposed to be pretty stable, right? So I think for day trading purposes, more often than not, they're probably not moving. But when we start to see imbalances, then they move a ton. Do currency futures have micros? They do. Not all of them. Peter Shap, if you look at just search micro in the symbol search, you'll see which ones have it. So we got micro Australian dollar, micro euro, micro British pound. Those are the micro currencies that we have. They're not super expensive to trade, even with trading the bigger contracts. But if you want to trade the micros, they're definitely there for you. We're gonna work on getting Coach Paul back in here. Talk a little bit more about the currencies, but I'm gonna go over to the equities. I'm gonna pull up a 4-up for the equities. Is we saw some interesting stuff going on in the equities today. A little bit of a rotation potentially. Let's clear these charts up really quick. All right, we're gonna go with the Nasdaq on the top left. Take all these indicators off. We can see what's going on. Nasdaq top left, S&P top right. The Dow on the bottom left and the Russell on the bottom right. Maybe a little bit of rotation. Yeah, Coach Hoop, the Rusty took a hit. So we talked about this, right? We talked about this, I think, opening call on Wednesday. We were mentioning, the Russell's making all-time highs, but if we start to see a bid in the Nasdaq, I think the Russell's going to fall apart, and that's kind of what happened today. And the Nasdaq didn't really do anything, right? On a higher time frame, the Nasdaq hasn't really gone anywhere. It's still trading in that range. It's still trying to decide what it's doing with that October 10th candle, but it looked like it had the potential to run today, even though it really didn't go anywhere. But even that, there was weakness in the Russell today. A really nice sell off. Still, to me, the most fluid price action, right, out of all of the equity markets. Look, yeah, I'm going to frame out the New York session open for all of these markets. Uh, let's look, and we're going to go on a 30-minute chart. Here's the first 30 minutes in the Russell. Here is the first 30 minutes in the NASDAQ. Let's go with the Dow. The Dow was a chop fest today. The Dow's friends were going to different parties. It was trying to figure out which one it was going to go to, and it decided to stay home. And the S&P, again here, the Russell sold off. The Russell sold off, and maybe the infinite bid is over, but it's still, to me, the cleanest trade. It's the best trade I took today. I took a couple of trades in all of the equity markets, to be honest. Um, Selling the Russell was the best trade I took today, and it was pretty much right off the open. Let's see if we can get shorter time frame chart here. We talk about urgency all the time. Here's that 3-minute opening range in the Russell. Price and volume left this range as quickly as possible. There's not a lot of guessing in this market. When I first started looking at the Russell, maybe 2 years ago with Coach Paul, one thing he said that sticks with me is it's 2,000 stocks, right? It's a basket of 2,000 stocks. So if we use a boating analogy, the Russell's like a barge, right? And it's tougher to turn around, right? Where the Nasdaq is like a jet ski, and it can go. If one company in the Nasdaq gets hit really hard, it's going to bring the whole Nasdaq with it, especially if it's an Nvidia or an Apple or something like that. But with the Russell, it's the entire sector is going one way. So once it picks a direction, and sometimes it doesn't pick a direction, sometimes it's pretty choppy. Um, sometimes it's difficult to even get a trade in the Russell because it's just consolidated. And I think if we start to see rallies in tech, that's exactly where the Russell's going to go. But before we get there, it's had this run to all-time highs, so we need to come back to balance and really clean trade to the downside. Swap that VWAP off the open. Saw that VWAP off the open. It's happening. Yeah, I mean, try one more time here with Coach Paul. Take him out again. All right, we're gonna have to figure something out here. Maybe we use a different service for this. But yeah, so back to 3-minute in the S&P. It took a while for volume to leave that range. Same 3-minute in the net. And we did have some news. We had Michigan sentiment out, but from what I've realized in the Russell don't give a shit about any of that, right? It's just gonna go. And I like that, right, from that market. Be decisive. Tell me where you're going to go, and then I'll trade it. There's not a lot of guessing, not a lot of overlap in the Dow. Even though volume left that range, it wasn't convincing. This VWAP flattened out early. The Nasdaq maybe waited for Michigan sentiment, and if you wait for Michigan sentiment, then you could consider that you're open, and that's a much cleaner trade there. But right off the gate, the Russell has, to me, right now, consistently been the best mover, and that's all I want to trade, right? Similar to gold, my focus is trying to find the cleanest market. When it eventually becomes the Nasdaq, that's going to have most of my focus. But my first trade today after the New York session open, short the Russell, maybe 6 minutes into the market. Risk goes on the other side, and let it play out from there. Sit says, I was looking to buy the dip in the Russell, wrong strategy on a Friday. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's a Friday. Maybe it was just the wrong strategy for the market conditions, right? And I think the one thing, just like the metals, right? The metals have this consistent bid. So more often than not, you're going to be right trading the metals. But we also know that like there are healthy pullbacks in trending markets. And sometimes it's maybe if you don't want to short it because it's so strong to the upside, it's a no trade until we get to a better spot. Because if we look back at, I shouldn't have never removed my moving averages here. We'll put these back on. But the Russell got to a level that we look at all the time. Let's just do, it's going to do a 200 moving average here. And if you guys are not joining Coach Paul's pivot class, I know we talked about the pivots before. I would suggest doing that if you can join that class 8:30 Eastern time. Uh, it's while we're doing uh, the opening call, but some great information. Even if I think he posts the pivots in his Discord channel as well. The third level of support in the Russell today. Coach Paul says I won't say anything else. Yeah, man, they got you out of there. You were about to give away the secrets. You talked about crude oil being the market of 2026. Crude oil is up 3% today. I don't know, Coach Paul. You were giving out a lot of sauce, but 2670 was the third level of support in the Russell today. You guys can see where the low is. So I told Coach Paul this. Him and I trade a decent amount together, right, during the day. I told Coach Paul this about 2 months ago. I'm pretty secure in my strategy and what I'm looking for. You guys see we do the same stuff all the time. It's price, it's volume, and then where does the market have the potential to go? The only thing I've added to my trading in probably the last year are these pivot points and support and resistance levels. And it helps to identify where the market has the potential to go. Not a guarantee, because let me see here. I wish Coach Paul was here to talk about his pivot class. He's in the chat though, so I'm going to mark out the 3 levels of support, and maybe we'll start getting Coach Paul to do these on the show after the fact, so we can see how the market responded to them. 2670 was support 3, 2690 was support 2, 2709 was support 1, and the pivot was 2729. Giving you a lot of sauce here on a Friday. It's because we appreciate you being here. So the way I'm looking at this, and this should be a 200 moving average. What's that white line, right? Target, nice target down there. Dolby was actually getting short here. I love that trade. It felt like it was short in the hole, but we talked about it. 2670s is a potential target. So let's just full screen the Russell real quick. And I think we could probably go after this, but here's the thing, right? So and there's a bunch of resistance levels above here, but the Russell sold off, so we're going to focus on the sell-off. You tried to buy 690s. So not a bad idea, right? Sticks, that 200 moving average, right? Not a bad idea to try to buy that there. I'm going to move this over to here. And it Sticks, or it's not Sticks, it's Sit. I'm going to call you Sticks. I like Sticks. Hopefully you don't mind that. But here's the flow of the Russell for the day, right? So how many times do we see urgency early end up being the trend for the day? So now these pivots start to become targets, right? You want to watch the market's reaction to it, but there's a potential bounce off the pivot. Flow is still to the downside, and VWAP is trading lower, right? So once this pivot starts to trade, once this VWAP starts to trade below the pivot point, okay, where's the next potential level? Flow is still to the downside, urgent early, they're selling aggressively in this market. Where's the next potential level? Here's the second support. We get down there one time, I actually thought about buying this right as we were coming on air for this segment, but the flow is still heavy to the downside, right? The 200 moving average on the 30-minute is here as well. And this is where, even for me, I thought about buying it and I said, why would I buy this, right? Bobby, I promise I'm not looking at your charts. This is the market, right? This is the market. We're reading the flow of the market. Pivot points are levels, but 2690, interesting area to look for the market to potentially respond to, right? But what is the response? In order for me to buy this personally, I have to have some type of reversal pattern. And maybe you consider this one. Let's add the volume back to this chart. Sorry, we were doing a real deep dive breakdown here. Hopefully, you guys don't mind this on a Friday, but it's just stair stepping, right, Billy? So it never recovered above any of these highs, right? We didn't get that high volume kind of J trade type of volume ever. So for me, I wanted to buy it, and Dolby was selling the stair step because look what it's been doing the whole time. Flows to the downside, and just a really nice trade. Am I scalping? It depends on the market. It depends on the market. In the Russell, I think I held. What did I get short? I got short from 12s, I believe. I got short from 12s, and I think I was out for like 10 points here. And then the S&P, I didn't scalp either. I bought 4 S&P contracts and held them for a decent profit as well. But in silver, I'm scalping. Yeah. And I might even scalp this move, right? Sometimes I might scalp around a position. Uh, but the flow was so heavy to the downside. And again, 2670 was that third level of support. Check out those pivot levels and support and resistance levels that Coach Paul shares. We'll get him to talk a little bit more about those on air, but that is all the sauce we're going to share. Volume, pivot points, and flow of the market. I realize I'm only profitable when the market is good, and when the market is red on the day, I'm so bad, and then I'm hitting my DLO or max loss limit. For C, that might be if you're red on red market days, are you trying to buy, right? And maybe you're just trading that bias. And if you're identifying that the market is trending lower, maybe that's if you have trouble shorting, maybe that's a no trade day for you in that market, right? Maybe that's a no trade day for you in that market. JD, I agree. Lower time frames with lower lows and higher highs could be a factor. 100. Like this is just stair step after stair step. Yeah, Bobby, somebody's gonna yeah, whatever. Got to trade it at the end of the day. This is all just information, right? Somebody's gonna package that up and sell a Discord or whatever. You still have to take the trades, right? And that's what I care about the most. You still got to execute on them. And that's what we want to try to focus on here. But I think that's it. We could talk crude oil really quick. Crude oil had an interesting day. Yeah, see, so if you're a long only trader, your job is to identify that the market doesn't agree with your long bias, right? There are going to be days where you should not place a trade if you're only going to buy, or you have to find the market that is trending higher. Crude oil, what is there to say here? It's starting to rally. It's above the 200 moving average on the daily. Looking more and more like the potential, 2026 is the market or is the year of crude oil. Really nice day today. Really nice day in crude. Geopolitically, there's some stuff going on. We had that 200 moving average on the 30-minute, traded above it. London session sets the low. We're pretty close to it, and just a really nice rally day in crude oil. I haven't traded it much. Show the weekly in crude. Pity. Here's the weekly in crude oil. Above last week's high could get pretty interesting up here. It's still in that downtrend, but we've broken that downtrend. Kind of use it as a support. You see it better on the daily. But there's that downtrend from July's highs. We broke above it, came back, use it as a support. This could get very interesting here in crude oil. This could get very interesting here. Still has a lot to do to prove it to me, but it's trying. It is trying for sure. And I think with that, I don't know that we have. Is gold really rallying right now? Are you serious? Gold's gonna try it. You got 1 minute. Go 45 seconds. 45 seconds. Can gold run $13? I doubt it. I doubt it. Yeah, with what's going on again geopolitically, here's that candle from the low, anchoring a view up to that low. It is still supportive. Missed it. Using a new mouse with like this thumb trackball thing. Good. But yeah, really nice support from that view up. Going to be an interesting week next week. Was definitely an interesting week this week. We've seen a bunch of markets make all-time highs this week. Platinum, silver, gold, the Russell. Probably something else I'm forgetting about. But now it's time to enjoy your weekend, everyone. Coach Hoop is doing his class in Discord. Coach Hoop, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're doing your class in Discord 6 p.m. Eastern time. Then after that, go chill. Make whatever preparations you have to for the storm coming. If you're in the path of the storm, I know I am. So I got to get my groceries together. Stay safe, everybody, this weekend. If you have some time, review what happened throughout the week. Review your trades. Review what works well in your process. Review what didn't work well. And that first point I think is really important. Review what works. Right. A lot of times when we're going through journals and stuff like that, it can be a lot of beating yourself up a little bit. Try not to do too much of that. Right. You do have to hold yourself to a standard, but when you do something well, acknowledge that because then you want to do it more. That puppy some boots. Yeah, I might have to. Uh, But that's all I have. Stay safe out there, everybody. Trade well on the Sunday Open. Anne Marie is going to be opening on YouTube for the market kickoff. And then after that, Dakota with slow markets, Aaron with the London trade, London Open, D with the Euro trade. And then we're back Monday morning. Have a great weekend, everybody. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't done so already. We appreciate you all being here. We'll see you next week.